Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to World Online Racing. And you know what? Actually, this is a historic week. Let's get the track map up. Not the track map. This stuff up because we have finally one of Leopard, or it was Leopard, has managed to get our guesses right, and we are at Imola this week. And what a track for it to be! Very much a DRS friendly, I guess. But yeah, anyway, Leopard, welcome along and congratulations for getting that right.
Yes, finally we got one. I'm surprised it's this one. That was a complete shot in the target I chose. But yeah, no, we have finally got one of the tracks, and yeah, Imola usually does provide some decent on-track action, some nice wheel-to-wheel battling. Of course, as you mentioned, DRS will be very difficult. I mean, always is difficult to break, but I think, you know, in particular, just purely that pit straight, it is so long. It's such an opportunity. You know, down into one. Maybe not one itself. One itself is quite almost. It's almost single file. Like, you really, you know, need to be on the right line to, you know, make a pass if you're still side by side. You really need to have it done before the braking zone. If you want to make an overtake. But again, that pit straight is so huge, and breaking any sort of DRS is going to be a task, that is for certain.
It definitely is. And well, there we go. That's actually, I think I've got the wrong. Imola's round 8, which is this week. So apologies on that front for now. Imola, why is Imola? Imola's meant to be there. There we go. We've fixed it.
Difficulties.
Yeah, a few technical issues, but a quick housekeeping, I suppose. TF10 Dirk has got a qualifying ban for this week, and to move on to the standings, which is an important part of this. Tech Brutal is 9 points clear of Brando, and Epic Vale's victory last time out has propelled them up the order into this title fight, with Ryderdale just a further point, and that means there's only 13 points separating Tech and Ryderdale in 4th, and then only 23 separating Volokongan and Tech. So that is a race victory. Well, not even a race victory there, which is going to make things really interesting for the final 3 rounds of the season.
Yeah, that is for certain. It's really opened up all of a sudden, this Tarbal. You know, I think rewind to last week, and we were talking about it being, Tech Brutal having almost, maybe not a hand on the trophy, but getting very close to that kind of one hand on the trophy scenario. And we were really looking at Brando and Volokongan as kind of the main 2 threats. I mean, in terms of major threats, I mean, we did say that one good result will propel you into this title battle, or, a good result in combination with a rocky result for, one of the leaders. And that's basically, it's exactly what's happened. I mean, Brando, as a result of the tax penalty, Brando's picked up a P4. He's managed to gain, as a result, a few points and reel in Tech Brutal. And, with Epic Vale's win, he's just launched himself into title contention, and as a result, Ryderdale's picked up 2nd place and also, put himself back in, very good contention, and Volokongan's still there as well. So, it is all to play for. Yeah, and those are the 5 we're looking at, for this, for the Strivers title, and still same thing could happen again here in Imola. A bad result, Tech in particular, and look at Zach Styler, Dirk, Joe Murphy. I mean, Dirk's not a quali ban, but Joe Murphy even. A good, if they put another good result, they're going to launch themselves into title contention. But it really does have a very open feel about it all of a sudden with 3 rounds to go.
It certainly does, and there's an invalidation. The pressure already kicking off through into that was Varante, Vilna 5 and 6 here, and it's a historic track, this one. Maybe in a sense, more for the bad than the good, but we've had some incredible races here in the past. Last time in WOR was in season 17. It was round 3, and it was a victory for Kai Pearson, a console tier 1 champion himself. So maybe we could see another champion winning the race here in Imola. But also going back down a fair few seasons ago, a certain driver that is in F1 esports now, or sim racing, Alfie Butcher, who caused a little bit of controversy with the DRS games here. That is casting your mind back a fair few seasons, and I remember that one all too well. And
was I racing or was I?
You were indeed. You were. Unfortunately, I think you got caught in an incident early doors, which meant you weren't. Unfortunately, that felt like a bit of your end of career for WOR, let's say. That you were just getting caught in incidents not necessarily of your own fruition.
I mean, that kind of just... WOR for me was just kind of... because I arrived in Season 5 on F1 2018. That game was brilliant, and it never got any better. Like, it just was all downhill after that, basically. Yeah, I remember my last WR win was Spain Season 7, which feels ages ago. I mean, that was on F1 2019, so yeah, never really got much better. I mean, I picked up a few podiums here and there, but my time was at the top, but definitely I can still do a bit here and there, but in terms of being up there consistently and challenging for a title, it was those days had gone, that's for certain by then.
Well, I mean, I never really made it to the higher echelons of this, so you've got one over on me on that side anyway. I think the closest thing I've got for fame was being on the same track as Brendan Lee in iRacing the other week. But Lifebout has invalidated. Let's go on board with Quartz. Quartz is coming through now. I believe Quartz could be setting a lap time. There's a lot of invalidations with only 9 minutes 40 remaining. Only 9 drivers able to set a lap time so far. Obviously, Dirk with a qualifying ban. Ryder Dahl is out of the session as well. I don't believe Ryder Dahl has a qualifying ban, so that's unfortunate for them, because that's going to cost them big time for points tonight. Because while, yeah, the DRS is strong and overtaking can happen, it can also cause incidents. As there's Quartz, quickest of all. It's the first time in a while we've had Quartz go as quick as that.
Yes, so that's, I mean, with all due respect, a bit of a surprise. I mean, with just over 9 minutes of this qualifying session remaining, yeah, I mean, with all due respect, of course, it's not necessarily the name you'd expect to see, you know, putting themselves at the top of the timing screens at this stage, but kudos to him, he's done it. He's got half a tenth on Volakongen in second, consistent as ever. It's the Aston Martin of Volakongen doing the business once again, up towards the front, making sure he's up there. Tech Brutal in 5th, Vale just tucked in behind in 6th. But when you look at the other two contenders, obviously one of them is out of this session, Ryder Dahl, the other being Brando, hasn't been able to get a lap on the board as of yet. Has Brando. So Brando hasn't actually picked up a race victory this season. It's kind of the only, when you look at the other, I guess, 3 big contenders of Tech Brutal, Epic Vale and Ryder Dahl, they have at least won one race. Tech Brutal and Epic Vale have won at least 2. But Brando's there on pure consistency. You know, 3 podiums to his name, 2 other points finishes as well. It'll be interesting to see how badly the non-points finish in Singapore and the DNF in Monaco comes back to bite him. But he's doing what he can. He's being consistent, but it is kind of, you know, coming to the stage of the season where he does need to pick up maybe a win, certainly a run of podiums.
Justin was just on a flyer, but an invalidation of Arante Alta has cost the lap time. The back end definitely stepped out of Aqua Minerale as well, which cost them anything major. But yeah, Brando, name change as well. So Brando's changed teams by the looks of things. He's at PGR now by way of omission with that name change. TF10 before. I wonder if Ryan, because they were together at NOR, I believe, before they went to TF10. So I wonder if they'll be swapping. But that's an interesting one for Brando. Definitely, when you're saying about the consistency, sometimes you don't need race victories when you're inconsistent, as Brando had been. The only blemishes really was the Singapore, like you quite rightly mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, obviously MotoGP, but ask Joan Mir. That's all you know. If you know those that follow MotoGP will know exactly what I'm referencing about that. Won the title with only one race victory, and that was in the third to last round of the season. Just put himself in the title belt just by way of consistency, whilst others faltered. And Brando is doing just that. He doesn't quite have the kind of lead that Joan Mir had developed at this stage of the season. But nevertheless, he's in it. He's 9 points off. Consistency could be what brings him a title. And I've said it before. I think I said it at the beginning of last season as well. These shorter seasons are won by being consistent. Sure, you probably do need to win a race or two, but if you can be consistent, it goes a long way. In the meantime, we did briefly have an Alpine 1-2. Ryan had gone to the front row of the grid temporarily before Shizu. Oscar, by 6,000ths of a second, has put himself at the top of the timing screw. So 1 minute 13.5 dead. Casper Flack, 1 minute 30.4. Times are tumbling.
They are indeed. Here comes Brando across the line. It's only P7 for Brando, not even in the shout at the front at the moment. Who's next? Is it? No, Lawrence is invalidated. So let's go on board with Lifebout. I believe is it
Lawrence invalidated.
Bell will be possibly, but down on their lap time coming through Ferrante Alta, which probably doesn't bode too well for the Ferrari driver as they come on through. Max van der Gies could be on a lap just behind as well. Maybe Zach Styler after an unfortunate race last time out for Zach. Definitely shot up the order and, well, was very close for stealing the show a little bit. Here's Max van der Gies then a little bit further down. Where is Zach Styler? Into the Rivasa comes the Williams driver. What can they do on lap time? Down the start-finish straight for a first-timed lap for Zach. He's put he's put an extra installation lap on that Williams, and it seems to have done them well, up into 5th place.
Yep, good lap from Zach Styler. I think Lifebout's just put himself onto the 3rd row of the grid as well. Just over 4 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Round 8 of round 10. Or round 8 of 10, should I say. And it looks like a bit of a mixed up grid, if I do say so. It's you got none of those front runners that we've been so accustomed to all season. Really challenging. There is a bit of a different feel to the front couple rows of the grid as it stands. Just under 4 minutes remaining of this qualifying session. Of course, that can all change. The 4 title contenders, if you will, are title contenders for a reason, and that's because they are good at getting a lap in when it's needed. Tech Brutal has just started one of his own. Epic Vale's in the pits, Brando's in the pits. Of course, Ryder is out of this session. He'll be starting last at best. Sorry, I think P19 at best he'll be because of Dirk's quali ban. Tech Brutal's on lap as he comes through the middle sector.
Got Joe Murphy just ahead, who again, another driver doing another installation lap, or an out lap, so to speak, which seems to be a little bit of a thing through Veranda as an invalidation. And into the wall. Ooh.
Oh, he's out.
He is out of qualifying in 16th place. Tech Brutal then hops over the 2 curbs in Verante Alta. That's not ideal for Joe Murphy. He's having a torrid time of qualifying this afternoon, setting a 1:21.3. Here is Tech Brutal, who just needs to get it in a little bit higher. Cross the line for Tech Brutal. Can it be claiming pole position? It has. It's a wonderful lap time from Tech. Can his teammate do anything about it? No. Justin has invalidated. Ryan Bakar has invalidated. There was Nail Gullett pulling further up the grid. Where is Hazara? Can Hazara keep it in at Verante Alta? He has done, and down through to finish their lap time.
Yep, on board the Mercedes, needs his lap time, does Hazara, otherwise it is going to be probably P18 or P19 at best. Oh, he's not invalidated. through the last couple corners, through Ravatsa, extended a little bit too much on the exit of 17 into 18, and there goes that lap time. No battery remaining for Hazara. That is that for the Mercedes. Tech Brutal will also, I'm guessing, will be, or will he have another go at it? I mean, he won't be on optimal tyre, so you'd think that's the best time he's going to get. So that is the time you'd think, a 1 minute 13.314, that's the time everybody has to go and chase down. Particularly if you're Epic Vale, down in P12. Is it raining? There's lots of rain.
I think it is. That makes, I honestly think that makes Tech's lap time even better because of the colder conditions. You want it to be optimal. You don't want it to be too cold while pushing around here in Imola. Tech has retired. Here comes Ryan then across the line up into third place. It's slightly quicker. Oscar is massively down on their lap time. Has everyone else left it too late in this qualifying session? Volokongan, I think, coming through. Oh, goodness me. That was very squirrely through there. Who else could we possibly go on board with through all this? Really struggling. A lot of these drivers to keep it on the track. I think that's qualifying over and done with. I think they've, well, left it far too late. Whether they were thinking it was going to rain or not, I don't know. But Epic Vale down in 12th. Brando going to be no higher than 11th. This is a crazy qualifying session.
A crazy qualifying with the championship leader doing the business, getting it done early. Tech Brutal, once again, he's had a rocky couple rounds as our championship leader. He's seeing his gap being slowly reeled in, and just like that, I mean, albeit you don't get any points for qualifying, but that's a big step, a big moment potentially in this season, in this championship fight. You know, 9 points is the gap between himself and Brando. But when you look at it, Tech Brutal on pole position, none of his championship rivals are inside the top 10. This could be a pivotal moment, and potentially the moment, potentially, where you'd say Tech Brutal re-grasps this title battle, retakes control of it properly, and that it will be enough, you know, to put him out of sight, or certainly out of any, any close range of those nearby.
Drivers now just finishing up their laps and really struggling. It's more like Formula Drift than Formula One right now, as the wet weather is not helping them at any point in this at all. But it looks like, well, it will be Tech from Casper on the front row of the grid as, oh goodness me, Quartz going off. TF10 Ryan then in third place and Oscar in fourth. On the third row of the grid, we've got Quartz and Lifebout, then Zach Styler, Volokongan, Justin and Nail Gullet rounding out the top 10. Then you've got Brando, Epic Vale, Max van der Geese, Ryan Bakar, Bumblebee, Joe Murphy. I'm going to take a guess at then it being Lawrence, Ryderdal and Hazara, with then Dirk right at the bottom of the grid because of the qualifying ban. I'm not sure. Well, we would believe it's that way around, but that is a qualifying. You know, I quite enjoyed that little bit of rain right at the end.
Yeah, it definitely came. It's a bit of a shock. We haven't seen anything quite like that this season. And yeah, you know, drivers caught out. Rain, you know, coming in right at the end of qualifying, and that's maybe why Tech Brutal was a little bit, because he was just slightly out of sync with everybody, wasn't he? Especially towards the end. You know, and he got that lap in, and literally within about a minute, it's like, there's spots of rain here. And that was that. You know, that was qualifying. You know, the track wasn't going to get any, you know, any better with that happening. And you can look at the screen now. It's maybe not say tipping it down, but it's definitely, you know, intermediate conditions. I think only really Ryan managed to get a lap time in towards the end of it. I think it was towards the end of his lap when the rain started to fall. But
with for Ryan, he improved on his lap time, so that's a great lap from Ryan. You know, got to give hats off for Ryan on that one as well. But let's do a quick rundown again. It's Tech from Casper on the front row of the grid. Then you've got Ryan and Shizu Oscar on the second row. Third row sees Quartz and Lifebout. The fourth row is Zach Styler and Volokongan. Fifth row is Justin and Nail Gullet. With the sixth row of the grid, Brando and Epic Vale. The seventh row is Max van der Geest and Ryan Bakar. The 7th row, the 8th row of the grid, sorry, is Belbaby and Joe Murphy after that suspiciously looking crash out there. And then there's Dirk, Ryderdal, and it's all mixed up at the bottom because we're not sure whether Dirk is going to be at the bottom or not, but we believe it is going to be. But yeah, that's we'll move over back to the standing screen just to show the importance of everyone that isn't Tech Brutal, because Tech's done what he needs to do with mission 1, so to speak.
Yeah, he's got the first part to perfection, qualifying, getting on pole, and everyone's kind of almost failed the first part of, no one else is inside the top 10. Does that mean, Epic Vale proved it last week, does that mean, Tech Brutal's going to extend his lead? Not at all. I think we've seen enough races, especially in WR, to know that's not a guarantee. But what we do know is it does put Tech in a very good position, a very commanding position as far as the championship is concerned. But yeah, as mentioned, Epic Vale proved it last week, literally last to first. And almost a comfortable last to first, may I add.
It wasn't comfortable to begin with.
No, true, but he made it look comfortable.
Yes, when it came down to the end, that final stint and everything, perfect. World Online restart again, so we are just swapping through everything, and let's remind ourselves of what happened last week with finishing orders and everything, and hopefully I'll give Leopard enough time for him to think of what next week's track is going to be. But it was Epic Vale that obviously took victory from Ryderdal and Joe Murphy in the end, and Joe Murphy threw himself into the title fight a little bit there, but obviously not working so well in qualifying tonight. Brando out in the middle of nowhere with all things there. Then Max van der Geest with Zach Styler, who had a great race. And let's not forget how good a race Zach had, because he was fighting away with Joe Murphy and possibly deserved a podium along with Joe Murphy there. Then there's Belbaby, Tech Brutal fighting back into 8th place with Shazoo Oscar in 9th. And then the weeks before winner, Nail Guitt, finishing in 10th place. So from maximum points to just 1 point. But yeah, let's, round 9 then. We've finally got away from street tracks with 2 rounds remaining. Where do you think the next race is going to be?
Well, looking at it, I think there's 3 street circuits and 4 actual circuits, I think. Or is it 3? No, it is 4. What am I gonna go with for round 9? Let's go. The one that's jumping out at me for whatever reason is Australia, so we're gonna go with that.
So I can't choose Oz. I thought Saudi Arabia last week because it matched up with Saudi Arabia in the real F1, and but no, you know what? I'm gonna go for Saudi Arabia again.
2 for 2.
And you know what? It won't be. But yes. So
yeah, it'll be Barcelona. Watch.
Yeah. So with that, obviously, let's talk about a little. But yeah, Imola and past seasons, obviously we've covered, but it's been some. It can produce some incredible racing, can't it? Here in Imola, you've got to worry about being caught into these slipstreams or DRS trains or whatever you want to call them at the time, because they can ruin people's races, especially through the pit stop phases.
Yeah, definitely. The pit stop phase will be key, because the undercut is pretty powerful. Fresh tyres are pretty powerful around here, especially with it being a soft and not being able to use a hard tyre. That's going to throw spanner in the works. Will we have another wet race? That's also plausible. We've had 2 wet races in a row, haven't we?
Just to add on that as well, you don't need hard tyres if it's raining. And we've had an awful lot of wet races, haven't we?
Yes, definitely. So yeah, we actually haven't seen the kind of dilemma or conundrum for a couple of weeks now, have we? Will we see it here? Potentially. We might see it here in Imola, if it stays dry. Of course, all this talk about DRS could go completely out the window if it's another wet one. So yeah, I'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, you know, Imola is a track that can produce good racing, and that pit stop phase will be crucial if it is dry. You know, because I kind of from memory with previous races, usually that first stint is kind of you know, all one DRS train, but then the pit stop phase is really like split it up quite drastically, just because the undercuts and whatnot are just so powerful. That it really does break up trains, and that's where, you know, we might see the race kind of split in two, if you will.
Yeah, that is. Well, we'll wait and see. They're heating up and readying up as quickly as possible. This is nice. We don't often see this, do we? It's really quick tonight. Hopefully, that means it's going to be a nice, easy race as well.
They've gone better at this over the years. I remember when this used to take ages.
Don't remind me. I was here. I suppose you were in the racing seats as well. So
yeah, exactly. I was there waiting. I remember like taking. I think I did a race in Spain once. Up in 2018, we had to do a restart because the lights wouldn't go out or something like that. And it took, I think, a good 20 minutes, maybe, to get everything back going again. So yeah, to be back on, you know, back on the grid within a couple, pretty good.
it's looking very grey. I have to admit, it's looking very, very grey out there, isn't there? Do
cloudy.
we have another mix again here tonight? It is possible.
It's not a wet start.
I've seen this though when it's like this and then it's an intermediate start. So never say never, leopard. Never say leopard. Never say leopard. Never say never, leopard. I don't know. On this occasion, I haven't got a clue. But let's head over and just have a quick. Unfortunately, do we have the track map available? Let's have a quick look at said track map to come up on screen. It is technically a 19 corner circuit at 3.05 miles long. It's only got the one DRS zone and it's got the speed trap just before the detection zone. So we could see some funny old business happening at turn 17. The track does have a little bit of an up and downy bit to it as well. I know that's not the technical term, but the actual word just went out of my head. Undulating,
elevation.
maybe? Elevation, there we go. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be an absolute epic race. And for Tech's purpose, he needs to just get off the line clean and...
He wants a boring race.
Yeah, he wants boring. We don't. I'm sure in the chat they don't either. So let us know in the chat who you think is going to take victory tonight. Leopard, question fired over to you.
Oof, good question. Who is going to take victory here in Imola? I'm gonna say let's go with an oddball pick. I'm gonna say Zach Styler. I feel like that's not actually the most oddball pick, because I think that's Silo. But I'm gonna say Zach Styler for victory.
Fair enough. You know what? I don't know. I mean, I do think one of the ones outside of the top 10 have a larger possibility here because of the possibility or the ability of different changes of tyres. You know, the softs, medium, softs. I'm guessing. I don't think you can go softs, mediums here, or if you can, it's very, very difficult. And you know, I wouldn't want to be a tyre whisperer. And if there's rain later on, who knows what will happen then as well? It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I'm just reading the Discord, trying to get any kind of inclination about what might happen. There is talk that the weather is interesting. That's I think, well to quote, weather looks fun. Either way, Take it away, Gareth.
5 lights here in Imola, and away we go. It was not held for very long at all, and the drivers are already pushing through. Tech's had a great start. I don't know about Oscar, because he's dropped a position to Quartz as they come into turn 2 proper. As look at that, there's a little bit of contact between the other Alpine and Oscar. Oscar's managed to get through unscathed, thankfully. But everyone's starting on a set of medium rail in 11th there, with Volokongan and Zach Styler fighting and swirling away, and nearly went off as they come into Tozer. It's all close and pretty much, and there's more contact between them all, but somehow they're still pointing in the right direction.
3 wide further back here in the middle segment. Brando's had a decent start. He's up the inside into, if my call names remember correctly, through Piratella into Aquaman O'Reilly. Brando's made a good start. He's up to 8. He's tucked in behind Zach Styler now. Justin in P9, Volokongan in P10. Epic Belga try to do battle into the Valiante Alta. But again, nothing doing. Brando's single file through that chicane. But Tech Brutal got the whole shot. Got a great start off the line. Good launch. Into turn 1, unchallenged, unscathed, and he leads the Grand Prix here in Imola at the end of lap 1.
It's good for Tech Brutal. Oscar managing to get back past Quartz quite early doors, but here they come, all down the start-finish straight for lap 2. As we look on board, is Casper going to do anything inside as they go into turn 2? They do not. Tamburello is not a fun place to go 2 by 2, as poor old Volokongan has found out, because they've gone down to 11th place. That's not ideal for a championship contender. He's got a lot of work to do now. Brando, as you quite rightly mentioned, up a little bit as well, but Ryan looking very racy behind the McLaren of Casper Fatch, which could indicate that Ryan doesn't want to hang around there.
Yeah, he's also got the most battery out of those. I mean, very early days to be talking about battery, but he has not used anywhere near as much as, at least when I checked it, as Casper Black out in front, or in P2. So, yeah, he really is hurrying the back of that McLaren. Certainly through Tosa, of course, Piratella, but now it almost looks like Casper Flash is looking, or thinking about a move on Tech Brutal. Of course, I think, will we have DRS at the end of this lap? Yes, we do. So let the games begin is all I have to say. Tech Brutal has done the first 2 laps. I'd rather get the feeling he's not going to be leading at the start of this one when they arrive into Tamburello. Here we go, then Casper Black to the outside of the championship leader. Easy as you like, done before the braking zone. The McLaren takes the lead here in Imola.
It's what he needed to do as well, because Ryan is not hanging around. Ryan was trying to have a go there. Quartz looking really racy in 5th place. I don't think we've seen this side of Quartz in Console Tier 1 as all of a sudden Lifebound going up the inside of Tozer. That's not what we were expecting. It could end up being 3 wide with Zach Styler trying to get involved as well, but Quartz unsettled a little bit, just as I was praising him. It seems like a commentator's curse, but Quartz before that was looking very racy, trying to get through Oscar, maybe lifted off a bit too early to allow Lifebound a little go through Veranta Villeneuve there. But it's respectful, but there is a lot of action still, and it's not, I don't want to say not what we expected, because we were expecting some sort of jostling, but drivers are definitely throwing their noses in a little bit more tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tosa does that. It's a corner that's, in a sense, quicker than you think. You kind of almost think it as a hairpin. Well, we'll go on to that in a bit, because here comes TF10 Ryan. He's going to be looking what will be the inside come Tamburello. In the end, Tech Brutal is having absolutely none of it. Used all the batteries got at his disposal and breezes around the outside into turn 1, into Tamburello. Job done. Judge leader back up into the Grand Prix, and I think we're going to see quite a few changes for position up at the front, just like that, throughout the rest of this Grand Prix. Lap 4 of 32. Or why am I saying things? Is that wishful thinking? Might have just been a reflection somewhere, I think.
I think that was wishful thinking. Zach trying to get past Lifebout as well. I think it's not. I think it's on the cards. It's got that feel about it. But Tech definitely doing the right thing, because what you don't want to do when you're fighting for the leader, you don't want to be the 3rd car in this DRS battle train. I can't count Oscar in that yet, because Oscar's not. I don't think Oscar's pushing enough to Ryan at the moment. That could be rain.
I thought it was rain.
Yeah.
No, it is. That is rain, isn't it? That is spots of rain. We can see it's ever so slight, it's minuscule. But there are spots of rain around the track. Tech Brutal's probably going to get utterly eaten alive down into turn 1. He's using the branch to make sure he limits the damage. Into turn 1, contact between him and Casper Flack. Can they keep it facing the right way? They just about do. They keep it just about face the right direction. What they have done though is allowed everyone back into the party. It's going to be utter pandemonium at the end of the Manianti Builder. Vintatosa, who is going to come out top? Who can pick up positions here? Rammer's down to P9, Oscar's up to P3. Rides into P4, Zack Snyder up to P5. They're still side by side as they enter Pirantella. Still side by side into Pirantella. Second, Oscar doing battle to the car off in the background. That's Zack Snyder. Commentator's curse from my point of view. But Tech Bruce, after all of that, holds on to P2 for the time being. Casper Flack's trying to put the hammer down. He's managed to get a bit of a gap, 6-10 to Tech Brutal. For a brief moment. Oh, just, I don't know what the way to put it is, but it wasn't assuring. I guess the only way I can describe it. From Tech Brutal, just sticking his nose in a little bit on Casper, and all hell broke loose afterwards.
Yeah, yellow flag there as well. Dirk getting a penalty for causing a severe collision with Azara. There's problems going on there. What has happened? There's front wing damage to Epic Veil. I was on board with it, but I didn't. There was some, maybe a car swiping across, or maybe him coming across. I don't know what exactly happened there, but Epic Veil missing a lot of front end.
Safety car, he's been bailed out.
Epic Veil.
Second week in a row.
I was just about to say that for the second week in a row, Epic Veil has had some. Someone is looking down on him favourably.
A lot of weight damage. That's not like the end play damage we're used to seeing with cars, and when they continue on, especially on this game. That is a big chunk of front wing missing on both end plates.
It's definitely
Bailed out by a safety car. Goodness me.
Zach, I think, has damage as well, and Zach's moved on to intermediates. It doesn't feel like intermediate weather, but it could be, crucially, it could be after. Oh, there's a what is going on there? The two Ferraris getting a penalty for severe collision with each other. That's not ideal. Look at the front wing damage to Lawrence as well. I tell you what, in Maranello, they would be absolutely fuming with those drivers. It's a good thing they're not Lewis and Charles Leclerc.
Everyone in the pit lane.
Oh, goodness
Everyone.
me. Lawrence again hitting the back end of Bumblebee, but thankfully, no penalty this time.
Here we go. What tyre do you put on? Is it inters? Is it mediums? What is it? It looks like it's the intermediate compound tyre that everyone is choosing. One driver has gone for a set of softs.
Interesting.
And that is our race winner from Monte Carlo. Lawrence on the mediums as well. Everyone else has gone for a set of intermediate compound tyres.
Are we going to see a race of constant weather changes, which is why it's going to dry up a little bit, which is why maybe softs would work? I don't know.
I mean, these sort of conditions, because it's definitely not intermediate. The track's not, it's raining, but I wouldn't call that intermediate conditions, which is basically perfect for a soft compound tyre. That is the tyre you really want to be on, unless it's 2017 and you want to be on hards. Remember those days. I know. But, that soft compound tyre is the one to be on in these kind of I guess nothing, or that's not the way to put it, like interchange conditions, the crossover point. Of course, not necessarily going to deliberately go on a soft tyre for a crossover point, but it's, yeah, we could see if it doesn't, if there isn't enough water on the track when the safety car comes in, we can see Nal Geo charge through the field.
Yeah, that's the other. You know, it could be Neil just go off a little bit and then pit like 2 laps after the safety car goes in to go on to Inters, but he's built up a 5-second lead over the rest. And then his tyres, his intermediates won't have been worn down as much because of the not dry running, but the really weak damp running. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. It seems like it's very much
Lawrence has stayed out.
A case of button pressing wrong, or Lawrence might be trying something. Joe Murphy and Justin have pitted.
Mediums. They're back on slicks.
My head hurts.
So does mine. I'm confused. I do know why. Because obviously they will have not have put on the intermediate tyres. So it's not what that is from Joe Murphy, Justin, so from Nal Geo, is basically what you do when you get a safety car in a normal dry race. You put on the tyre you haven't been on momentarily, and then you go back to the tyre you want to be on, in this case a set of medium compound tyres.
Are we going to have... This happened a few times in the past, and hopefully you know what I mean when I say this, but a wet race that isn't wet enough for Inters. Because
Yes.
it used to be that, I think it was it 21, F1 21? It would be like this, but it was pointless going onto the intermediate tyres because they were still half a second slower than the dry tyres.
Yeah, there you go, safety car in the slab. So if you're on the Inters, you can't do anything about it. It's a very intriguing scenario we have here. We have a few drivers that have remained on slick tyres. They're at the back of the field, the top 14 on Inters. Who has got it right? Is it the majority or the minority? We're about to find out. Either way, Casper Flack dictates the pace here as we start, or we're about to go back to green flag racing once again. This is going to be an intriguing first couple laps, and he's dropped the hammer very well.
I would say that is much better than we saw last week. And look at Lifebout versus Ryan. That is very, very good from Lifebout. You know what? That's one of the best restarts in the midfield, and that's Joe Murphy over the back bow, but Lifebout is still fighting away side by side with Ryan and made a position on Ryan. And that is a great restart from the Kick Sauber driver and up into 4th place now. What a start for that. Volakongan recovered well up into 7th place now, but my goodness me, saying that, he's fighting along side by side with Max van der Kies through Ferrante Villeneuve, and somehow it's sticking in the same way. Epic Vale with Belwelby. Epic Vale definitely saved by that. Look at that, they're still kicking off down here.
Epic Vale with a double overtake into Tosa, just sent it in there. Oh, that's a bit tight. He's got a little bit of contact. Max van der Kies is going to say thank you very much. Switch back with Ferrantella and reclaim P8. Epic Vale though, getting his elbows out early on the safety car restart. As we said, he has been bailed out. Tech Bruce is looking to pile the pressure on Casper Flack out in front. How are our slick tyre runners doing? Well, we know Joe Murphy's had a bit of a shocker. It's a Ferrari round as well. That's Lawrence, who was the lead slick tyre runner. So now it's battling between Justin and Nal Geo for the leading slick tyre runner. So the Inters, they're not falling away, the slicks, are they? It's going to be so interesting to see which way this race pans out. DRS enabled, which is often a telling sign of where everything's at. Tech Bruce is not close enough to make a move down into turn or Tamarello, should I say. So we'll single file through there. Then we've got a run through Tamarello into Villeneuve. Nothing doing as of yet. Brando's made up another few positions, and Brando is in kind of this leading train. He's at the back end of it in P6. So he's put himself in the conversation for race victory at this moment in time, depending on what the slicks do.
Yeah, I've just kept on board with Epic Vale because Epic is, being a very, very feisty customer out there right now. But the DRS being enabled just makes you think, are we going to see Justin, as I say that, Justin picks up a 3-second time penalty, Justin do something special here tonight?
Yeah, or could it be one of the others? I mean, it's so... I mean, you put it perfectly. Our heads hurt. We we have no idea where this race is going to pan out strategically with the tyre compounds. I mean, Justin has got ahead of Hazara on the intermediates, but he's picking a 3-second penalty. Brian McCarr's on the soft tyre, which might be the time to be on. There's a car off in the background. I think that's what's just gone off. He has really tumbled down the order all of a sudden. He's down to P13. Ryder Dahl, excuse me, up to P12 in the Williams. Both Williams in P11 and 12. Let's go back to Austin Front because Tech Bruce is making a move for the lead of this Grand Prix once again. And Oscar right round the outside of Tamburello, turns to the inside for the second part, gets up to P2 himself. That gives Tech Bruce a bit of breathing space, but what a move that is from the Mercedes of Shazoo Oscar to get up into P2. Lifebout is in P4 as well, looking to pile on the pressure. Justin with another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. So his race goes from bad to worse. Does it look like it's going to get a bit wetter, maybe a bit cloudier? I'm not so sure. Is the rain picking up? Joe Murphy's in the pits. We'll see what time he puts on, but Tech Bruce is really looking to get the power down. 8-10 gap between himself and Shazoo Oscar. This might be the best chance he gets to break the DRS all race. If he can do it, but Oscar is breathing him in. Gap back down to 6/10.
And after an incredible race last time out, it's full wet for Joe Murphy. I think he's just, I would say, given up, unfortunately, on this one. Joe Murphy going to come out ahead of this train very soon. Justin picking up another 3-second time penalty, leading the dry runners. But that is incredible amount of penalties.
Sorry. Goodness me. Justin, calm it down, man. Calm it down, man, sorry. Oh, contact further in the midfield. That will be Max van der Gies and Zach Seiler coming into contact into Tamburello. Maybe a bit of carbon fibre coming off the cars. Can't quite see if it is Bumblebee with a 3-second penalty. Not sure if there is any wing damage. Just having a look on any of the cars. I don't think I can see anything obvious. But that does split the train from P8 to P9. In fact, both and Epic Vale have reeled in Brando quite drastically. And now it's the leading train of 8.
This is the thing with wet weather as well. It's very much a case of it can cause that break in the train, and there is Justin again with more penalties. DRS is still enabled as now.
It's qualified at this rate.
Rayan Bakar with a 3-second penalty as well. It's going to be very, very tight. Lifebout looks very, very strong right now. This is a good race from Lifebout. It's such a shame that Quartz has now dropped down the order. Justin, another 3 seconds. Justin's really struggling. I don't think the dries are the tyres to be on.
I've never seen anything quite like it. The amount of penalties he's picked up in such a short space of time. Bumblebee's, Max van der Gies round again. They've come into contact once again. That little trio, Zach Styler, Bumblebee, and Max van der Gies. And Max van der Gies is the victim in all of it.
Oh, Ryan up the inside, Ryan at the inside of Tozer, trying to get back at Lifebout after a mistake through Varante Villeneuve.
And Brando taking full advantage. He'll have the outside to Bertello. Ryan sticks his nose in. That's brave, that's bold. Can he keep it alongside into Aqua Minerale? Nothing doing. Brando up into P5, so he's slowly making back those positions. Is the McLaren. Epic Vale still in P8 for the time being. As that gap is really opened up, you can really see the train has split in two. Rivazza brutal sideways into Rivazza. He's going to be under any pressure from Oscar. DRS still enabled, even though it is raining and they are on intermediate tyres. Oscar will basically just go mirror single maneuver. Casper Flack also looking to move to the inside of Tech Brutal, so Tech Brutal will lose 2 positions down into turn 1. Oscar takes the lead of the Grand Prix here in Imola. And oh, look at that, Casper sideways on exit of Tamburello, but Tech Brutal can't make anything happen into Villeneuve. And yeah, Tech Brutal down to P3, he's lost a couple positions. And Brando, well, he's got his man in his sights. He's there, you can see him.
Yeah, Epic Vale and Volakonga just a little bit further down the road as well. So it's not all things pretty right now, as Casper seems to be the one really struggling whenever overtakes happen. Casper's the one that takes a little bit longer to recover. Even though he's made the move on Tech Brutal, he's now recovering from Oscar in front. It's very, very odd. And I think, actually, if anything, Ryan helped stop Lifebout getting into that top 10, as we've lost a driver. I think that is Ryan Bakar down just before Ferrante Alta there. So dry tyres, it just doesn't seem right now.
At this moment in time, we'll see. It depends when the rain stops. Here comes Tech Brutal. Crazy on by Casper Flag. Oh, we're going to be 3-1. No, he's been boxed in. So it's going to be summer between the McLaren and the Mercedes through Tamburello. Oscar's the one to brave it out. Is that going to compromise his exit? Casper's going to have the run on the exit. But Oscar is going to hold on, use a bit of the battery to keep the McLaren at bay, keeps hold of the race lead for the time being. So Brutal tried to make the move on Casper, would have been Oscar as well, but he just got boxed in and had to lift off, get out of the throttle. And unfortunately for Tech Brutal, stays P3 for the time being, but he's got a lot of time. We're not even at a halfway stage just yet, and a lot has happened already in this Grand Prix. A couple of the drivers that were on the slicks have decided to bail and go on to the set of inters.
It's just been a little bit too... Even though the DRS is enabled, which makes it usually, you quite rightly mentioned earlier on that DRS sign is usually the indication to go onto slick tyres or the dry tyres. But it's just not been the case here in Imola today. It's not the swimming pool that it was a couple of years ago in real F1. It's just slowly petering down with rain, but it's really spiced things up a little bit. Can Lifebout do anything? But can Tech Brutal do anything? As come on through to start pretty much the halfway point through this race. Casper looks to the inside of the Mercedes, not happening, and Tech tried to go to the outside of Casper, but nothing happening. It's really, really quite on a knife edge right now.
Also, the track does look, as opposed to the safety car restart, this track does look a little bit wetter. That's Lifebout to the inside of Tech Brutal. I think Tech Brutal got balked somewhere along the line. Lifebout got caught out in all of it. Epic Vale's up the inside of both Ryan and Volakonga by the looks of it. 2 for 1 into Tosa, job done. Epic Vale up to P6. He's going to be under any threat though. Into Piratelli. Ryan sticking his nose in once again, but Epic Vale having none of it. Lays it over the top. And it keeps on at P6 for the time being. And now, you've got Tech Brutal in third, you've got Brando in fifth, Epic Vale in sixth. They're all in one picture. You maybe wouldn't have thought this would be a possibility when this race started, when Tech Brutal was the man on pole position. And Brando and Epic Vale were outside the top 10. Halfway stage of the Grand Prix, and they're all the same shot in the battle for the lead of this Grand Prix.
There is another twist in the tail though. Brando has left plate wing damage, front left plate damage. Brando, after the incident with Tech Brutal and Lifebout, Brando just careered into the back, I believe, with Lifebout there. And here comes Epic Vale past Brando, the helpless Brando, as they go into Tamburello.
Sorry, Brando got very close to the back of Epic Vale under braking. But yeah, I did see M-Play fly off one of the cars. I thought it was Lifebout, but quite clearly it was Brando right through this corner, through the Variante Villeneuve. That Brando must have lost a bit of M-Play damage. Now we have seen on this game that if it's lion play damage, like I reckon it's the case for Brando, whilst he won't be optimal, provided he's got DRS, he should be able to stay within range of these guys. It's going to be a little bit harder, but far from impossible to stay with these guys. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, you can quite clearly see, whilst he's maybe not challenged the back of Epic Vale now, it's still very much there.
3-second penalties for ET8 Lawrence, and the penalties kicking off quite a bit now. Obviously Justin left, who had a fair few, but with all things said and done, it's been a relatively interesting first half of this Grand Prix. Loads of chess pieces being put into place. Tech Brutal trying to find a way past the McLaren just ahead of him. I don't think it's working on this occasion as Lawrence tries to find a way through as well. But here comes Tech Brutal. Does anything go for it? No, the DRS and the slipstream's not helping. Oscar still leading out on front. And can we see a first console tier 1 win as Max van der Gies retires in the pit lane? A first console tier 1 win for Shizou Oscar. Well, we'll have to wait and see. We've still got just under half a race to go, but he's led the race for the last couple of laps, and it's seemed a little comfortable.
Yeah, it's kind of in that stage of it where, I mean, we are at the midpoint of the race where maybe it does become a little bit of a procession, slightly. There's my cough again. Excuse me. But yeah, he has been comfortable, hasn't he? At the front, so you know, not challenged really, more on an occasion or two. But yeah, he looks comfortable. Whether he's leading or, you know, in second or third, he's looked comfortable in those, you know, top few positions throughout most of this Grand Prix, which puts him in good stead, you know, for when it, you know, comes down to it at the end of this Grand Prix later on.
Brutal. Can he do anything this time? And you do wonder whether this is a little bit of Casper playing a little bit of DRS games as well, holding back as they go into the Rivasa into turns 17 and 18, and then using all this slipstream and everything to catch back up as they go into Varante Tamburello. So he doesn't have to make moves yet. He can save some of the ERS and keep Tech Brutal behind. Maybe it's a little bit of a Casper play here as well. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. But 14 laps to go, roughly. And let's see what sort of time Casper loses from about now, from Piratella all the way to the Varante Alta.
Yeah, we'll go on board him, on board McLaren, still keeping relatively good tabs on Oscar through Aquaman and Raleigh, maybe Oscar gaining just a little bit maybe, and by a little bit I mean probably a couple hundredths if that. Casper charging, under braking into the Variante Alta. Oscar maybe getting a little bit more on exit, but this is the corner we've been looking at, Rivazza. 4/10 gap between Oscar and Casper Flach. Oscar sideways a bit on exit. Really fishtailing is that Mercedes, but I think when you look at it, he probably just gets the power down a bit better on exit. 4.5 tenths is the gap. Lifebound is putting pressure on Tech Brutal. This could be quite the party down into Tamburello. Casper has hot lap enabled, has the DRS, it'll be to the outside line of Tamburello. Doesn't manage to make a move low. Oscar sideways in defence to try and keep all the position. That's going to Constantina everything up. Who's going to be under threat then? Everyone's been forward, everyone's been Constantina together. In the end, nothing happening as of yet. Epic Velvet will probably almost certainly fancy a move on Lifebound into Tosa. Lifebound sees it coming, decides to cover the inside. Brando's gone sideways in that process as well, so Ryder Dahl's up to P8, Volokongan's up to P7. Ryan's still P6, so Brando's had made a bit of an error or come into contact somewhere along the line. Amongst all that chaos, Epic Vale thought about the move on Lifebound, wants to make the move on Lifebound. In the end, Lifebound saw it coming and covered the inside of Tosa very well. But Oscar, under pressure from Casper, we said, you know, that Oscar has looked comfortable throughout a lot of this. Did look very comfortable there.
Didn't at all, as yeah, it very much looked like Brando decided to do the lawn-mowing class from Lando Norris in the McLaren, and into the pits go Casper. No, sorry, not Casper. Right. Oscar and Ryder into the pits.
I think this could be for slicks. I really do think this could be slick tires. It is slick tires. Oscar, fresh their medium tires. I was just about to say, it does look like it's dry. So you know who that's famous? Nal Gio in the Aston Martin. He put on their mediums ages ago. Has he lost, you know, enough time? Or, you know, has he kept in with enough range of the leaders? I think he has. He has done. Nal Gio is in the effective lead of the Grand Prix here at Imola. The only problem is he's only got a couple seconds in his back pocket, and he's on 13 lap holder medium tyres. But nevertheless, he's gone for it. He's rolled the dice, and he's in the lead, effectively, of the Grand Prix here in Imola.
Bell by B picks up a penalty. Lawrence picks up a penalty. That sounds like usual things. Rydenol's got a penalty as well. Something in sixth place that I've missed anyway. But Neil is automatically caught by Shizu Oscar. It's like he's on really old tyres, which he is on old tyres as well, as he's being held up through Aqua Minerale, and already through Oscar's pace is incredible through all this. Is that enough to hold Oscar up just that little bit to allow Casper, Tech and Lifebout to stay within it? We're going to go on board with Oscar as he's coming through now into Rivazza and through the final few corners, and we'll see if we can see the McLaren, Haas and Kick Sauber leaving the pit lane. Into the pits does go Neil as well. Looking at it from the Mercedes point of view, Shizu Oscar, he's well and truly in the lead. This is incredible. Yeah. He is massively undercut. And there, all of a sudden, last week's race winner, Epic Vale, is that him in second place?
It is indeed. He made the choice to go in early as well. Very proactive thinking from the likes of Oscar, Epic Vale to go in early. They saw that the track was drying, they saw the rain was diminishing, they pulled the pin, they made the call, get us on slick tyres now, we're not going to wait another moment. And just like that, the rain fully stopped, the track was fully dry, they made use of the grip, they made use of having the better tyres, the right tyres, the right conditions, and that was that, job done. Oscar keeps on to lead the Grand Prix and now has a buffer of 1.7 seconds and then a further 1.5 seconds. Epic Vale, that's not what you want to be doing when you're fighting for a title. 3-second time penalty for the Italian in the Red Bull. You'll be glad he has a bit of a buffer, but that is a huge error. Literally right at the moment where he looked like he was going to be really, always pulling level with Tech Brutal. If he, goes on the charge now, catches Oscar, wins a second race in a row, he'd be basically level with Tech Brutal for, in this title battle with 2 rounds to go. Now, he's on the back foot. You still probably want to try and chase Oscar, but it won't be for victory. It'll be to try and hold on to whatever he can, maybe a podium. But he's got to get a move on right about now.
Right about now, definitely. Right about now, so rubber as the song goes. But yeah, Tech Brutal and Casper are desperate. Well, actually, is Casper desperate to make the move? No matter what, he's going to finish on the podium here. He's possibly not. They're not going to catch Oscar. Does he frustrate Tech Brutal? He's not in a championship fight, Casper, but does he frustrate the championship leader, cause him problems, and that could heavily help Epic Vale in this race because they're already 1.9 seconds behind Epic Vale. Tech, though, looks like he's going to absolutely throw it out of Rivazza. He's 3/10 of a second. I don't know if they're going to work together or not. I think they should, but whether they will or not, time will tell. But here we go, down the start-finish straight to start lap 24 of this Grand Prix. And Casper Flack is under immense pressure. I say immense pressure. He's already been overtaken, possibly, by 3 cars. That is insane.
That is how powerful the DRS is. Lifebound squeeze from the inside for good measure. Ryan breathes on by, make it for Volkonkers. Oh my goodness me, Volkonkers, that was ever so tight. Into Villeneuve, you'll chuck up the inside to Toaster as well, but again, Casper lays the car over the top of Volkonkers and keeps hold of P6 for the time being. But yeah, that's just how powerful DRS is. 3 cars breathed on by the McLaren. And would you look at that, making good use of the DRS he's had down the main pit straight. Tech Brutal has pulled the pin, and now he is setting chase after Epic Vale. And that gap has come down rapidly, and that is not what the Italian wanted whatsoever.
It's Ray and Bakar in the wall at Varante Villeneuve, while still on a set of intermediate tyres. Wow, yellow flag's going to be kicking off, but yeah, maybe. We've had a fair bit of it already. No DRS enabled for Tech Brutal down the start-finish straight. fastest lap though, as they keep on coming down. Here comes Lifebout. Is Lifebout going to risk it to the inside? Lifebout is going to risk it to the outside, to the inside, and then take third place away from Tech Brutal, and all of a sudden become in the DRS of Epic Vale ahead. Lifebout's had a very, very solid race tonight, and all of a sudden it all changes on its head again. But Shazoo Oscar is sitting pretty 1.7 seconds ahead. Tech Brutal is under pressure from TF10 Ryan, and we've seen Ryan go through Piratella and make a move there before up the inside, but Tech was not having any of it.
No, Tech Brutal saw it coming, decided I need to use a bit of battery here to keep Ryan at bay. And he does just that for the time being. Tech Brutal keeps hold of P4 for now. It will be P2 after penalties are applied for track limits. A costly error from Epic Vale, a costly error from Lifebout to pick up a 3-second penalty at this stage. As the track continues to dry out, the fastest laps will keep coming in probably until the end of this Grand Prix, but Oscar holds a 1.8 second lead. He's controlling it out in front of the time being. There goes Lifebout up the inside of Epic Vale. Another 3-second penalty though. The kickstart, that is any sort of podium chances well and truly gone. Ryan looking to the inside, Tech Brutal once again. Now we have two title contenders, following one another. The championship leader, Floyd Webber, scrap that. Ryan's up the inside into Tosa though. Up the inside into Tosa goes the Alpine of TS10 Ryan. He'll have the inside for Piratella. Job done. The Alpine of Ryan has got the move done on the championship leader. A bit of relief for Epic Vale in P3. Lifebout's going to try and pull clear, but Ryan's made the move on Tech Brutal. Volkogan, another championship contender, will now look to try and do the exact same thing.
It looks like it looked like both Casper and Tech were better in the wet than they are in the dry. Ryan has been, well, very, very imperious through it all. And fair play to him. He doesn't care that Tech Brutal's the championship leader. He just wants positions, and he's doing it well. Lifebout will be, he's shot himself in the foot with those penalties. He's going very, very quickly. It's Hazara going to the inside. Now the start-finish straight. That's very, very odd. Up the inside, Tech Brutal has a sniff of Ryan, but it's not happening on this occasion. They're not, well,
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, Lifebout and Epic Vale not really working together to get to Oscar. They're happy just causing chaos for P2.
Yeah, and they will, we've seen how quickly, Lifebout and Tech Brutal got towards the back of Epic Vale for P2. If they do just that, they could easily get onto the back of Shazoo Oscar if they wanted to. It doesn't look like Epic Vale has the pace to keep up with Lifebout in the middle sector at this moment in time. Lifebout has the pace, it seems like, maybe to not only drop Epic Vale, but reel in Shazoo Oscar. We'll have to wait and see, but Epic Vale's not making any moves from that far back. In fact, I think he's just lost DRS. He has lost DRS. He's going to have to try and get it back. Lifebout's seen that. DRS detection zone is there. I don't think Epic Vale was inside it, and I think he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck down this pit straight. Indeed he will be.
Let's see, because it fluctuated. Does the DRS flap open? It does not. No. Oh my goodness me. Epic Vale could be all of a sudden he is back within it. No DRS, and Ryan can't get there, but wow, that was very, very close. But Shazoo Oscar is slowly being caught, and it's not going to go all their own way towards the end of this. It's 1.4 seconds. Oscar may need to start turning the wick a little bit.
Yeah, he might have to. That really depends on if Ryan can dispatch of these two. Because at the moment, Oscar has nothing to really worry about from those behind as he gets a little bit of a little slide of oversteer. You can just see the back end slowly stepping out of the exit of Piratella. He is being reeled in slightly. He'll take confidence in the fact that the two behind him have at least 3 seconds worth of penalties. It's 6 seconds if you're the kick-salver of Lifebout. So, when you look at that, it really depends on Ryan at this moment in time. Volkongan carrying the back of Tech Brutal. He wants to get that move done. He wants to make sure at the very least that he makes inroads on Tech Brutal's championship lead. Come the end of this Grand Prix again, he opens the DRS again, he uses the overtake to try and dispatch of the Haas up ahead. Epic Veil has got past Lifebout, so has TF10 Ryan down into turn 1. Volconga can't dispatch of Tech Brutal, so Tech Brutal keeps on a P5 for the time being, but Epic Veil, as a result of that DRS usage, has got himself into, I say that, massive snap of oversteer on the exit of Valiante Builder. Brando's picked up a penalty as well, so not a very good race for Brando, the man second in the championship at the start of this Grand Prix. It definitely won't be finishing it in second place, but Epic Veil has got within inside that 1 second window to Shizuowska. The only downside is he has a 3-second penalty.
Yeah,
That's it for Epic Veil.
Both of those drivers pitting a lap earlier, proving to be the better way to do it. But yeah, Ryan is the one to watch.
Yeah, Ryan is, if anyone's going to take this race victory away from Oscar, well, there's two possibilities. Epic Veil gets past Edison Stewart's, or it's Ryan. That's basically the only way this race is going to be taken away from Shazoo Oscar. Right, no contact or anything like that happens. Speaking of it, here comes Ryan to the inside. Not close enough. Thinking about it, I think Casper stuck his nose in on Volconga down into turn 1. They've just about all got through that unscathed. By the way, just like that, there's less than 3 laps to go.
Yeah, looking at it from Ryan's point of view into Toza, because we know how imperious he can be, how quick, how gutsy he can be through this into Piratella, and he's trying, and Epic Veil's been wise to it, trying to come through. But yeah, 3 laps remaining, 2.5 if you want to be pedantic through all this. It has been a great race. Interchangeable conditions. The sun is now beaming here in Italy, and we've got an Italian in second place, but I don't think it's going to go their way as they come on through into Verante Alta. It's looking very close. Lifebout looking very close as well, but Tech Brutal there on the edge. Tech Brutal could very well be on the podium and extend his championship lead tonight, and that is exactly what he needs to do and what he wants to happen.
Yeah, indeed, he'll have to defend from Volocong, and Volocong is still very much in this fight as well. Here comes TF10 Ryan, here comes Epic Veil. I don't think Oscar's going to be leading on track after turn 1. Indeed, he's not. Contact, what's there contact? It's Lifebout to the inside. That's incredible. Goodness me, the Kickstarter of Lifebout has just made one of the moves of the season down into turn 1. Unbelievable from the Kickstarter of Lifebout. It's a shame Ryan's picked up a penalty as well. So just like that, he might have lost 3 positions, but he's still leading this Grand Prix. It's Shazoo Oscar.
That is crazy.
Oh, my.
Lifebout and Ryan battling away, and I think Ryan has taken it, and I think Ryan could get that 3-second penalty taken back because he was forced off the road through turn 1. But there's still 1.5 laps remaining. The penultimate lap of this race. It is absolutely, it's crescendoed. It's all come back together, and my goodness me, it could be anyone in the top 7 that takes victory on track. And that is how certain I am. But currently, Ryan leads away. Lifebout is going to come through, I'm sure, as they head down the start-finish straight for the final time.
Here we go then. It's going to be utter pandemonium down into turn 1, down into Tamarella. They start the last lap. Lifebout's the one that's got DRS. He's going to use the overtake. Ryan's going to be a sitting duck. What can Epic Veil do? He pulls to the outside of the Alpine. Is he going to try and make the move? Of course he's going to try and make the move. He sticks it around the outside and he gets the move done. Lifebout, I think, as a result of that on track, is going to take this victory on track, but it's now going to be a case of who can take second on track, who can take victory after penalties. It is all to play for here in Imola. Volocong is still trying to make that move on Tech Brutal. He's got half a lap to make it, does the Aston Martin. Lifebout, though, has got away from this all unscathed and on track, will almost certainly be the victor.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. But the major thing is whether Oscar can keep Tech Brutal behind down into Verante Alta. I think he's going to be able to now. But this, wow, what a race. What a way. A Shazoo Oscar, absolutely incredible decision to pit early, and it's made the absolute best decision. I don't think there's going to be any changes. So let's go on board with Lifeboat. On track, at least, is going to take victory. What a race for Lifeboat. What a commanding place he's been able to produce tonight. Epic fail coming home there. But my goodness me, we can't really say what went down with the penalties. Ryan might get something removed. We just don't know. However, Shizou Oscar, as things stand, has taken a maiden console tier 1 win, I believe, if my stats are correct. But Tech Brutal in second place and Volokongan in third. A double Shizou podium. What a way for Shizou to continue. They're looking strong, which is great. Casper, an up and down race, finishing fourth. Fifth place to Epic Vale. Ryder Dal in sixth. Seventh to Lifebout. Eighth to Ryan. And ninth to Brando, with Quartz finishing 10th. And what could have been out of the 13 drivers finishing today. Does Nail get the fastest lap of the race? Let's have a look as he's coming through Rivarza. Driver of the day, then, I think, is the next port of call. And it's a difficult one to choose from tonight. There's a lot of very, very solid drives.
Yes, that is for certain. That is for certain. I kind of want to give it to Oscar. Just because he controlled that very well. Didn't make a mistake, got the pit lap to perfection, controlled, most of that stint as well. And, a thoroughly deserving victor of the Grand Prix here in Imola. I mean, Lifebout was also very impressive despite the penalties. For me, it'd be one of those two. Volokongan again is driven a very solid race, but I'd have to lean towards Shizou Oscar. Epic Vale confirms his penalty will not be removable. I think, if I've understood that correctly.
Yeah, from my understanding, that is the same. But yeah, let's quickly run down again. Shizou Oscar taking victory tonight from Tech Brutal and Volokongan in third, rounding out the podium positions. Then we had Casper in fourth, fifth place to Epic Vale, sixth to Ryder Dahl, seventh to Lifebout, eighth to Ryan, Brando in ninth, and 10th to Quartz. Hazara, Zach and Nail, the only other finishers, with Lawrence, Ray Bakar, Belbabee, Max van der Geest, Justin, Joe Murphy and Dirk all not finishing this race. I can breathe a little bit now. I'll breathe a little bit. But that was Oscar, you know what? Yeah, even if Ryan gets that penalty, I'm looking at it. Ryan had a very good race. Lawrence had a very good race. Oscar had a very good race. And I think the thing that is siding more for me for Oscar is the fact that he took the risk of pitting early. And Formula One is very much a case of high risk, high reward. And he took that high risk today and he got the main reward. And that's what I think. But, Ryan had a very good race. We can't take that away from him. And I think he will feel very hard done by with having to take to the grass to avoid contact. I know Tom Roberts saying he went on the grass, so no removal for him. Tom's a decent racer and he knows his stuff. So, I'm no steward, so I'm not going to get involved in that one. But Leopard, that was a very, very good race, wasn't it? We had everything in that.
Yeah, there was literally everything in that. Strategy, weather again for the third race in a row. We also saw the slick tires. We had a safety car early on, and then just all out pandemonium for victory right towards the end. It's basically all you could ever ask for in a Grand Prix, and we got all of it here in Imola tonight. And with that, just like that, there are 2 rounds remaining here in season 20.
Certainly is, and takes us perfectly to the track pool and the season 20 calendar, the mystery season here in World Online Races, World Online Racing. I can't believe we're at season 20 already, and it feels like I've been here for a long time. I've loved every second of it. 2 rounds remaining. Yourself has gone for Australia or Australia next week, and I've gone for Saudi Arabia again. There's still plenty to choose from. It could be Spain, it could be Austria. What a race that would be as well. We've already had where we started the season in China, then we went to Monza. So we've had 2 Italian Grand Prix this season. Then we went to Abu Dhabi, then Miami, Singapore, Monaco, Azerbaijan, obviously Imola here. We could go to Texas, we could go to Canada. Australia, Qatar there on the list as well. So plenty of tracks to choose from. 2 rounds remaining. My goodness me, this season has been something to behold here on World Online Racing. And you know what? 2 rounds remaining, still anything to play for. But Tech Brutal, has he now got a hand on that title, do you think, Leopard?
I'm gonna say half a hand. 'Cause that's even possible.
He's caressing it.
Yeah, it's within touching distance, isn't it? Maybe he's got his fingers on it. Maybe not, his hand wrapped, on it just yet. But it's, he's definitely. It is looking kind of reminiscent of his, tier 2 title win from a couple seasons ago. Where he, from pretty early on, was the man in control of it all. Holding that championship lead. Excuse me, the championship lead. And eventually we had a few of the drivers just slowly reeling him in, but just as you think they're reeling him in, he gains a bit more, he extends his advantage, and he kind of just does that all the way till the end of the season. And come the final round, it might go down to the finale, but it'll be it'll be very obvious that Tech is the favourite. We could see a very similar scenario. But yeah, Tech, he's no stranger to winning a title on this game. As mentioned, I think it was season 18 in Tier 2 that he got it over the line. From the midpoint of the season, had the championship lead, was controlling it. Had a brief scare, he was being reeled in, but he did get over the line eventually, and we might be seeing something very similar here in Season 20, but this time in Tier 1.
It could do indeed. What a race we've had before us tonight. We've had wet weather, safety car. We've had carnage, and we've had some great racing. But in the end, there was only one winner, and that was Shazoo Oscar. Though stewards might decide to change their minds with a few things. We'll have to wait and see. Leopard, thank you very much for being alongside me for this one. But for now, well, there's a finale next week in Legacy Division on, Tuesday night? Yeah, it's Tuesday Legacy, isn't it? My goodness me. I should know that by now. I commentated on it for a little while as well, so I should know that one. But Legacy Division finale on Tuesday night, that is in the balance as well. But we are back.
Quick book, actually.
It is. So Leopard and I are back next week, well, hopefully, for the round 9, the penultimate round of the season here in Console Tier 1 of World Online Racing. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.